right, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whichever time zone or area that you're viewing this video. My name is Jennings. I'm the chair of the Journalism and Media Production Department. And with me is one of our awesome professors, Professor Steve Krizman of Public Relations and other areas of our department as well. How you doing, Steve?
Good. How are you?
Doing good. Yeah, and it's a pretty good summer day out there, and enjoying the air conditioning right now.
Yeah, hot out there.
The social distancing world that we lived in right now, it's a necessity. But those of you that are watching, there are two reasons why Steve and I are here. And again, thank you for watching and listening to our discussion today, because we're here to address two major factors here. One, the role of journalism, mass media, and media production during the times that we're in right now. And second, why one should consider taking courses or majoring with journalism and media production here at Metropolitan State University of Denver.
Yes, and as a faculty member on the team, we really welcome folks to come in and help us reimagine media. It's a kind of a term that you have been talking about a lot, Chris. And tell us a little bit more about what you mean by reimagining media.
One of the promotional elements at MSU Denver has been this Reimagine possible. And when we look at that from a broader context, Reimagine possible, the idea for potential students coming into the university is to kind of reimagine what is possible in the areas that they're interested in. So if we take that context a little broader into media and journalism, media production, and all of the areas that we encompass, is how we can reimagine media, how we can reimagine change in journalism and media production, because a lot of change is needed right now. And the students that are going to come through and study journalism, report, and be the future journalists are the ones that are going to be that change. So when we take that context of reimagine possible and reimagine journalism, reimagine media production, and reimagine yourself, that's really what we're striving for here.
Yeah, and the as you kind of indicated earlier, the situation that we are in today is putting media, right in the crosshairs. There's a lot of people paying attention. And when we say media, we're talking about traditional media, whether it's the printed magazines or online media, where it's YouTube and it's social media. But it's kind of in the crosshairs because of this whole discussion around fake news. What do we teach about fake news?
Yeah, exactly. And really, we're here really to help students reimagine and start that reimagining process. And when we really look at fake news and how that's a source you could trust, is that we can look at it in a couple different ways. And we start by looking at the source itself. And a lot of people stop short of really doing a deep dive into sources. And a lot of people don't have time to do that. So when we're inundated with a blog and all kinds of news sources that are out there, it's important for us to read beyond the headlines and read a little bit about the author and about the information that's being presented to us. So when we look at the ways in which identifying fake news or looking at whether this is a source of information you can trust, looking beyond the headline and the first couple sentences, what is the author's intent? What are the author's biases? And then when you dig deeper into the content, you could look at things like how does the author support what it is they're saying? Do they have particular sources? Are they cited multiple times? Is there more than one source providing this information to the person writing or reporting the information to you? And then you can look at other factors, and the course goes even further as to what the source of the information. Who's the publisher? Is there a publishing company behind it? Are there biases there, or is there an intent from the publisher? How do advertisers impact media and make some decisions on whether they're going to fund or continue to advertise on a channel or not? So we
Hmm.
really look at when it comes to fake news, it's really difficult these days to distinguish for a lot of people what is opinion, versus what is being reported as information that can be trusted.
Yeah. And that is kind of a bit of a frustration for those of us in the media business,
Mhm.
uh, that because of the technology, it's making it harder and harder to really draw that distinction between opinion and straight news.
Mhm.
It used to be you get a newspaper, and there would be the news section, and then there would be the opinion section. But now it's served up to the readers and the public, all mixed up like a salad, And unfortunately, the public have to be smart enough to ferret out opinion from fact. And that's why I think we invite a lot of people to take our courses who maybe aren't even going to be in the media business, but maybe need to interact with the media business. So you might be in a technology company, a class in technical writing or a class in journalism, will help you better understand how to position your industry in this very mixed up media world that we have right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Whether we're creating video productions, whether we're technical writing for either a scientific audience or an internal audience within an organization, or we're publishing things that are to the masses and to the people. There's a level of responsibility from the reader or from the viewer, from the person that's accepting this information, and that responsibility really is to determine whether this information is accurate and valuable.
Yeah.
So that could be frustrating, I can imagine, to the producers. So Steve, what I want to ask you is, from a journalist perspective or public relations perspective, what's frustrating about this process with the audience, but also what are some of the ethics and some of the things that you all take into consideration when creating media?
Right, we recognize, I think, that the world that we're in is putting more pressure, I think, on the audience than really they should. I mean, it should be easier, I think, to find the news you need, the information you need to make sound decisions and choices, to vote, and all those sorts of things. So that, to me, is I think, a failing that we and the people of this next generation who are going to be stepping into media are going to have to help us replace the structure that used to really help people better understand how to use the media. But so to do that, when we're working with our students, we focus an awful lot on ethics, and we focus a lot on legal aspects as well. There are things that are illegal to publish. The Federal Trade Commission has rules on truth in advertising. There are laws that against libel. But it still is an open, world in terms of what is legal to do. So the question really is what's right to do. Just because it's legal doesn't always mean it's right. And so we spend a lot of time in every single class talking about the ethics. And there are guidelines available to us for the different types of media that we're in. There are broadcasters have ethical guidelines. Journalists have ethical guidelines. Public relations professionals have ethical guidelines. And we really spend a lot of time with our students trying to better understand what those are, and how do you apply them to the kind of crazy case studies that pop up these days.
Yeah, and it sounds like that everybody in this process has some responsibility. I mean, we have rights. You mentioned rights earlier, and we have freedom of speech. And within freedom of speech, you can't defame the character of somebody. So there's a level of responsibility that's required there. You can't yell fire in a theater, for example. But I see a lot of media out there that's just the equivalent of yelling fire in a theater right now, particularly with the health crisis of COVID-19, and a lot of the issues that people are ignoring from Black Lives Matter is not necessarily yelling fire in a theater, it's doing the opposite. It's being quiet, and being quiet also is part of that level of responsibility, that people should have. They should use their ability to get their feelings out and to voice their opinions and voice their concerns, but they have to do it in a very constructive and a very methodical way, in a lot of cases. And so, we're seeing that and nobody in this case of creating media or absorbing media is off the hook. We all have our ethics and responsibilities that we need to keep in mind.
Yeah. So I guess, for me to close it out, I would say, I invite our students at Metropolitan State University of Denver to consider some of the classes. There's a lot of different choices that, if they look at the catalog for journalism and media production, a lot of courses they may find quite interesting. And a couple of them are actually general studies courses, so they count towards your GS requirements. And others just would be great electives that I think they would find interesting.
Yeah, that's a great point, Steve. And anybody watching this video on our social networks, feel free to engage with us in a very respectful, kind manner. If you have questions about things, please reach out to us. Reach out to me, or ask the question in the comments section below. But again, we ask that we do this in a very respectful and responsible manner. And look forward to hearing from anybody that might have any questions, and hopefully we could see you in the classroom or engaging with our content in these social contexts.
Yep. Thanks, Chris.
Great, thanks, Steve. And thank you, everybody, for viewing. I hope you all have a great day, morning, evening, whatever time of the day this might be for you.
Bye.
See ya.